A former Dollar Tree cashier told me there are 12 items on those shelves right now that most shoppers walk right past, and at least 3 of them are priced at almost 20 times less than what you'd pay for the exact same thing at a regular pharmacy. She rang these up every single day for years, and she says seniors, especially, are the ones missing out, because these are the items that quietly save the most money on things people already buy every week. Stick around, because number 7 is the one she said she wishes she'd stocked up on before it got harder to find. And if you enjoy simple, honest deal breakdowns like this one, consider subscribing. It really does help this channel keep going. Let's start with something almost everyone eventually needs: reading glasses. At Dollar Tree, a basic pair rings up at $1.25. Walk into a CVS or Walgreens, and a comparable pair of drugstore reading glasses often runs between $12 and $16. That means the Dollar Tree version can be roughly 10 to 12 times cheaper than what you'd pay just a few aisles over in a different store. Now, the honest question is always, are they actually usable? According to the former cashier, the lenses are simple and the frames are lightweight plastic, but for most people who just need a little extra magnification to read a menu, a label, or a birthday card, they do the job perfectly well. Employees say the store tends to stock a decent range of strengths, usually from +10 through +350, so there's a good chance you'll find one close to your prescription. The real-life use case here is one a lot of us know personally. Picture a parent or grandparent who keeps misplacing their good glasses around the house, in the car, on the porch, in a coat pocket from last winter. Because these are so inexpensive, many families buy 3 or 4 pairs and just scatter them around the house, one by the recliner, one in the kitchen drawer, one in the car. That way, there's always a pair within reach, and losing one isn't a financial headache. The honest downside, and this matters, is that these are not a substitute for a real eye exam or prescription lenses. If someone has an actual astigmatism or a more complex vision need, these generic reading glasses won't correct that. They're a magnification tool, not a medical device. Customers often notice the coating can scratch a little easier than pricier glasses, so it helps to keep them in a soft pouch rather than tossed loose into a purse or glove box. A quick bonus tip from someone who's worked the register: buy a couple of extra pairs whenever you're in the store, even if you don't need them yet. Strengths sell out fast, especially the popular +150 and +200, and restocking isn't always predictable. Employees also say the frame styles rotate seasonally, so if you find a shape and color you actually like, it's worth grabbing 2 or 3 pairs in that exact style right then, because the next shipment might look completely different. Speaking of things that tend to sell out fast, the next item on this list is one many shoppers don't even realize Dollar Tree carries, and it's a personal care item people usually assume you have to spend real money on. Next up is a flexible gel hot and cold compress, the kind you'd use for a sore knee, a stiff shoulder, or a headache. At Dollar Tree, it's $1.25. At Target or Walmart, a similar reusable gel compress typically costs between $6 and $9, and at a pharmacy like CVS, some brand name versions run closer to $11 or $12. That puts the Dollar Tree version at roughly 5 to 9 times cheaper. Why is it actually good despite the low price? These compresses use a simple gel bead design that stays flexible even after freezing, so it molds around a knee or an ankle instead of staying rigid like an ice cube tray. Many people report that the quality is nearly identical to the pricier drugstore versions. It's the same basic gel and vinyl construction, just without the brand name markup. The emotional use case here is a familiar one for anyone caring for an aging parent or dealing with their own arthritis. Cold and heat therapy is one of the most commonly recommended at-home treatments for joint pain, and having 2 or 3 of these on hand means nobody has to wait for the one ice pack to refreeze before they can use it again. Families with grandkids also like keeping a couple in the freezer for scraped knees and bumped heads. The honest caveat: the outer material is a bit thinner than premium brands, so employees say it can occasionally develop a small leak after months of repeated freezing and bending. It's not something that happens right away, but it's worth checking every so often rather than assuming it'll last forever. Bonus tip: keep one in the freezer at all times and rotate a second one back in as soon as you use the first, so you're never caught without one during a flare-up. That's a good segue into the next item, because it's another one built around comfort and pain relief. And it's one the cashier said customers are shocked to learn is only $1. Compression socks are the third item, and at Dollar Tree, a single pair costs $1.25. At a medical supply store, or even Amazon, a pair of mild compression socks, the 15 to 20 millimeters of mercury kind, often runs between $8 and $14. That puts the dollar store version at roughly 7 to 11 times less expensive. Now, it's worth being straightforward here. These are not true graduated medical-grade compression socks like the kind a doctor would prescribe for severe circulation issues. But according to the former cashier, they do offer light, general compression that many people find genuinely helpful for everyday swelling, especially after a long day of standing or sitting. The use case that keeps coming up is long car rides or plane trips, especially for seniors who are more prone to ankle and foot swelling. Many people report buying several pairs specifically for travel days, tucking a spare pair into a carry-on so they don't have to worry about laundry mid-trip. They're also popular for folks who spend hours gardening or standing in the kitchen. The honest downside: the elastic isn't as durable as a true compression brand, so the snugness tends to loosen up faster, usually somewhere around 15 to 20 washes. If someone has a diagnosed circulation condition, this is a case where it's worth checking with a doctor about whether a stronger, medical-grade product is more appropriate. Bonus tip: wash them in a mesh laundry bag on a gentle cycle and lay them flat to dry. Tossing them in the dryer breaks down the elastic much faster. Next on the list is something that isn't about the body at all, but about the home. And it's one of those items where the price difference is honestly a little surprising. Furniture sliders and felt pads are next, priced at $1.25 for a multi-pack at Dollar Tree. The same style pack at Home Depot or Lowe's often runs between $6 and $10, depending on the size and material, meaning the dollar store version can be 5 to 8 times cheaper. These little felt pads and plastic sliders do exactly one job: protect floors and make heavy furniture easier to move. And for that single purpose, employees say the quality holds up just fine. You're not asking a felt pad to be fancy, you're asking it to keep a chair leg from scratching the floor, and it does that. The emotional use case here is really about safety and independence for older adults. Moving a couch to vacuum behind it, repositioning a recliner, or sliding a bed frame away from the wall to clean can be a genuine strain, or even a fall risk, for someone with joint pain or limited strength. A few dollars worth of sliders under the furniture legs means these moves take a gentle push instead of a struggle. The honest caveat: the adhesive-backed versions don't always stick as long-term as pricier brands, especially on textured carpet, so some people find they need to reapply or switch to the non-adhesive slide-under style for heavier pieces. Bonus tip: use the felt pad versions on hardwood and tile, and save the harder plastic sliders for carpeted rooms where you need something that can glide over the fibers. From floors, let's move to something a lot of people don't think to check at a dollar store at all. But according to the cashier, it's one of the most requested items by regular customers. Magnifying sheets, the large, flat plastic sheets you lay over a newspaper, book, or medication label, are another standout, priced at $1.25. A comparable full-page magnifier at an office supply store or on Amazon often sells for $8 to $15, putting the Dollar Tree version at roughly 6 to 12 times less expensive. Why do they hold up despite the price? They're a simple piece of molded plastic with ridged lens lines, but that basic design is really all a magnifying sheet needs to do its job. It doesn't require batteries, coatings, or moving parts. Customers often notice that it magnifies enough to make small print on a pill bottle or a crossword puzzle noticeably easier to read. This one has a particularly meaningful use case: reading medication labels and dosage instructions. Many people report keeping one in a kitchen drawer specifically for checking prescription bottles, because those labels are printed smaller every year, it seems. It's also a nice, low-cost gift add-on for a grandparent who loves puzzle books or the newspaper. The honest downside is that the flat sheet style distorts a little at the very edges, so you'll naturally center whatever you're reading in the middle of the sheet. It takes a moment to get used to. It's also worth noting, a magnifying sheet isn't a substitute for actual prescription reading glasses if someone's vision needs are significant. Bonus tip: store it flat in a drawer or between the pages of a large book, since folding or rolling it can create permanent creases. Now let's shift over to the kitchen. because the next item is one people are often surprised to see stocked at a dollar store, let alone at this price. Digital kitchen timers are item number 6, priced at $1.25 at Dollar Tree. At Target or Walmart, a similar basic digital timer usually costs between $5 and $8, making the dollar store version about 4 to 6 times cheaper. According to the former cashier, these timers are simple. One button to set, a loud beep, a magnet or clip on the back, but that simplicity is actually the appeal. There's no complicated menu to navigate, which employees say makes it especially popular with older customers who just want something straightforward. The use case that comes up again and again is safety in the kitchen. For someone who's a little more forgetful or who's caring for a parent with early memory changes, a timer clipped to an apron or set on the counter is a small but real safeguard against a forgotten stove burner or an overcooked dinner. Families also like buying a couple to keep by the medication organizer as a reminder to take a dose at a certain time. The honest caveat here, the button can feel a little stiff and the display is small, so if someone has significant vision difficulty, they may need to combine it with one of those magnifying sheets we just talked about, or look for a timer with larger numbers. Bonus tip, test the battery in the store if you can, or grab an extra battery when you check out, since the ones that ship with these timers are sometimes on the weaker side. Sticking with the kitchen for one more item, because the next product is one that a lot of people don't realize can save real money on something they buy weekly. This is the item the former cashier specifically said she wishes she'd stocked up on. Reusable silicone food storage bags, priced at $1.25 at Dollar Tree. A similar reusable silicone bag at Target or on Amazon often costs between $7 and $10 per bag, which puts the dollar store version at roughly 6 to 8 times less expensive. Why are they actually good? They're a straightforward silicone pouch with a press seal top, dishwasher safe on the top rack, and reusable hundreds of times. Many people report that once they switch to these for sandwiches, snacks, and leftovers, they noticeably cut down on how often they buy disposable plastic bags. The emotional use case is really about saving money over time while also cutting down on waste, something a lot of budget-conscious seniors care about deeply, having lived through eras where reusing things was simply the norm. It's also genuinely useful for portioning out medications, snacks for grandkids, or small craft supplies. Some customers report using a labeled set specifically for freezer leftovers, which cuts down on both plastic waste and the mystery of unlabeled freezer bags piling up over the months. The honest downside, the seal isn't quite as airtight as the pricier name-brand reusable bags, so it's better for dry snacks and quick leftovers than for anything liquid you plan to store for several days. Employees say a few customers have mentioned the seal loosening slightly after many months of heavy use. Bonus tip, hand wash the seal area specifically, even if you run the rest through the dishwasher, since food residue in the seal groove is the main reason they eventually leak. Next, let's talk about something that lives in almost every junk drawer in America, and the price difference on this one might be the most dramatic yet. Small precision screwdriver sets, the tiny kind used for eyeglass hinges, watch backs, and battery compartments, are next, priced at $1.25. At a hardware store or pharmacy, a similar precision screwdriver kit often costs between $6 and $9, meaning the Dollar Tree version can be roughly 5 to 7 times cheaper. These little kits usually include 4 or 5 interchangeable tips in a compact case, and while employees will tell you the metal isn't premium grade, it's more than enough torque for the tiny screws found in glasses frames, hearing aid battery doors, and remote controls. The use case here is wonderfully specific, fixing a loose screw on a pair of glasses at home instead of driving to an optical shop and often paying a service fee just for a 2-minute fix. Many people report keeping one of these in a kitchen drawer specifically for that purpose, since eyeglass screws tend to work themselves loose every few months. The honest caveat, because the tips are basic steel rather than hardened, they can strip a screw head if you're not gentle or if the screw is unusually stubborn. It's worth going slowly and stopping if a screw feels stuck rather than forcing it. Bonus tip, keep the little organizer case together with a small dish or magnetic tray nearby, since the tiny screws from glasses are notoriously easy to lose on a countertop. From something for the eyes, let's move to something for the ears, because the 9th item on this list follows a similar theme of small, precise, and surprisingly affordable. Hearing aid batteries are item 9, and Dollar Tree sells a multi-pack for $1.25. At a pharmacy like CVS or Walgreens, a comparable pack of hearing aid batteries often costs between $6 and $8, making the Dollar Tree pack roughly 5 to 6 times less expensive. According to the former cashier, these are standard zinc air batteries in the common sizes 10, 13, 312, and 675, and the chemistry inside a hearing aid battery is fairly standardized across brands, so a generic version typically performs comparably to a name brand one for normal daily use. The use case is about as practical and emotional as it gets. Hearing aids are essential for staying connected to conversations with family, and running out of batteries at an inconvenient moment, say, right before a phone call with a grandchild, is genuinely stressful. Having a stash of inexpensive backups means that stress simply doesn't happen. The honest downside, because these are the more basic zinc air type, some users report a slightly shorter battery life compared to premium brand batteries, so it's not necessarily a one-to-one swap in longevity, even though the price is dramatically lower. It's worth trying a pack and seeing how it performs with your specific device before buying in bulk. Bonus tip: store unopened batteries at room temperature, not in the fridge, and don't peel the tab off until you're ready to use them. Once the tab comes off, the air activates the battery and the countdown starts, whether it's in use or not. Let's move from something small and precise to something bigger and more comforting, because the 10th item is one built entirely around everyday comfort. Lap blankets and small fleece throws are item 10, priced at $1.25 at Dollar Tree for the smaller sizes. A similar fleece throw at Target or Walmart typically runs between $8 and $15, putting the dollar store version at roughly 7 to 12 times cheaper. These blankets are simple polyester fleece, not heavy or weighted like a therapeutic blanket, but employees say they're soft, machine washable, and genuinely cozy for the price. For someone who just wants a light layer of warmth while reading or watching television, it does the job well. The use case here is deeply tied to comfort and routine. A lap blanket draped over a favorite chair for chilly mornings, or one kept in the car for a senior who gets cold easily during errands. Many people report buying several at once, specifically as small, thoughtful gifts, since the low price makes it easy to give one to every family member without a big expense. The honest caveat: because it's a lighter fleece rather than a plush or Sherpa material, it won't provide the same heavy warmth as a pricier blanket, so it's better suited as a light layer than a true cold weather blanket for someone who really feels the chill. Bonus tip: wash in cold water and skip the fabric softener, since fleece tends to lose some of its softness and fluffiness when softener builds up on the fibers over time. Now let's talk about something practical again, an item that shows up on nearly every senior's daily to-do list, whether they realize it or not. Weekly pill organizers are item 11, priced at $1.25 at Dollar Tree. At a pharmacy, a similar 7-day pill organizer often costs between $4 and $7, and some of the larger AM/and PM double compartment versions run even higher, meaning the dollar store version is roughly 3 to 6 times less expensive. According to the former cashier, the plastic on these organizers is a bit thinner than premium versions, but the compartments snap shut securely, and for organizing daily medications, that's really the main function that matters. The emotional use case is significant. For anyone managing multiple daily medications, or for an adult child helping organize a parent's weekly pills, having an affordable, easy-to-replace organizer means you can keep a backup on hand, replace a cracked one without hesitation, or even set up organizers for 2 different medication schedules, morning and evening, without a big expense. The honest downside: because the plastic is lighter weight, the hinges can wear out faster with heavy daily use, sometimes within 6 months to a year of opening and closing every single day. It's not something that will fail suddenly, but it's worth checking the hinges periodically for looseness. Bonus tip: label the days with a permanent marker rather than relying on the printed letters, since those can fade or rub off after months of handling. That brings us to the final item on this list, and according to the former cashier, it's one of the most quietly popular products in the entire store. Rounding out the list is the non-slip bath mat, priced at $1.25 at Dollar Tree. At Target or Walmart, a similar rubber bath mat with suction grips typically costs between $7 and $12, making the dollar store version roughly 6 to 10 times cheaper. These mats use small suction cups on the underside, and a textured surface on top, and while employees note the suction isn't quite as strong as premium versions, it's generally enough to keep the mat in place on a clean, smooth tub surface during normal use. The use case here might be the most important on this entire list: fall prevention in the bathroom, which is one of the most common places for injuries among older adults. A non-slip mat is a small, inexpensive addition that adds real traction underfoot during a shower or bath, and at this price, it's easy to keep a spare on hand or replace one as soon as it starts to look worn. Adult children helping an aging parent child-proof, or rather senior-proof, a bathroom often mention this as one of the easiest first steps to take, since it requires no tools, no installation, and almost no cost. Yet it addresses one of the most common and serious household hazards. The honest caveat: the suction cups can lose some of their grip over time, especially on textured or older tub surfaces, so it's worth checking the mat periodically by giving it a firm tug to make sure it's still holding well, rather than assuming it's secure indefinitely. Bonus tip: clean the underside of the mat and the tub surface with a bit of soap and water every few weeks. Soap scum buildup is the #1 reason suction grips stop working as well as they should. So that's the full list. 12 items that, according to someone who spent years behind the register, are some of the most overlooked deals in the entire store. What ties them together is pretty simple. These aren't flashy or trendy purchases. They're the small, practical things that make everyday life a little easier, a little safer, and a little more comfortable, especially for seniors and the families looking out for them. Personally, I think the real value here isn't just the price tag. It's the peace of mind that comes from not having to think twice about replacing something the moment it wears out. When an item costs $1.25 instead of $10 or $12, you're far more likely to actually keep spares on hand, swap them out when they wear down, and use them the way they're meant to be used, instead of stretching a single expensive version well past its useful life. Now, a word of caution, because it's important to shop smart and not just shop cheap. The spending trap to watch for is buying in bulk on impulse, without checking that an item is truly a match for a specific need. Cheap is only a good deal if you actually use what you buy. Grabbing 5 pill organizers or 10 pairs of reading glasses because the price feels irresistible doesn't save money if half of them end up sitting unused in a drawer. The smartest approach is to buy what you know you'll genuinely use, and maybe 1 or 2 extras for backup. Not a stockpile just because the price makes it tempting. Employees who've worked the front register for years will tell you the same thing. The customers who save the most money aren't the ones filling an entire cart on a whim. They're the ones who come in with a short, specific list and stick close to it, letting the low prices stretch their budget rather than tempting them into overspending on things they didn't actually need in the first place. If this kind of honest, practical breakdown was helpful, consider giving this video a like, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of these deep dives into what's actually worth grabbing at the dollar store. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 12 items surprised you the most, and is there one you're already planning to pick up on your next trip? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.